The National Prosecuting Authority has confirmed a man has been arrested following the discovery of those 6 bodies in the Joburg CBD. Now, that man, as things stand, has only been linked, as I was referencing in my conversation with the Minister, to one of the deaths, not the 5 others. From what we've been hearing from the sex workers who've been speaking to our reporters, Ikwana Chwana, they've been living in fear because they say one by one their colleagues have been disappearing in recent months and they feel like they've been left unprotected. We'll keep you across that story. In fact, bring you Zukwana's full report on the situation in the Joburg CBD and the dangers faced by sex workers in the 7 o'clock hour. Let's move on to some other news now, because the Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs is calling on the department to intensify efforts to tackle fraud. It comes after dead people were allegedly paid as part of a community work program which supports those who are looking for employment. We can speak about this now with the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Parliamentary Portfolio Committee's Bheki Hadebe. Mr. Hadebe, very good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you so much for coming in. What is going on here? Is it a systems failure or corruption?
Good evening, Tembegile, and to the Newzroom Afrika viewers. First of all, as part of our oversight, we have received an audit report from the Auditor General, which has revealed that 4.4 million has been paid to deceased people, which is about 705 since 2018 to date. Now, the report seeks to suggest that there are weak internal controls within the department, but one is mindful of the fact that these programs are undertaken by implementing agencies, which are NPOs. They are the ones who submit the attendance register to the department so that department can effect payment. Now, what these implementing agencies do, one comes to work, signs the attendance register for the entire month, and then stays at home.
Sounds to me like fraud and corruption.
Exactly, it is fraud and corruption to us. Hence, we're firm to say SIU should come on board, investigate these matters. All those that are found to be responsible must be brought to book. We cannot tolerate that people are defrauding the state when these monies are intended to intervene in terms of the poorest of the poor who are still looking for work elsewhere. But the program is intended to ensure that while you are looking for work, you also benefit in terms of community development. Now, these so-called, I would call them thugs for now, because it's a sheer deliberate attempt of defrauding the state. You can't sit at home and expect to be paid for work not being done.
The Department of Cooperative Governance had spoken about the blacklisting of some of these implementing agents by, I think, the last around June-ish, when you had another interaction with the Minister. Much of them, many of them had not been blacklisted or been listed with Treasury flagged at that level. Are you satisfied that the department is moving with enough speed to make sure that these people are no longer allowed to do business with the state pending a criminal investigation, should one be needed?
We want a detailed report that will reflect the extent of this corruption, because it has only taken dead people for the department to discover that someone is defrauding the state. Once we get that detailed investigative report from the SIU, will then be in the position to recommend. Indeed, one of the options will be to blacklist those companies. But until such time that a detailed report has been conducted, we cannot jump the gun and say just deregister them. We want a detailed report that will give a detailed analysis to the extent that we want to know that within those that who are still alive, are they part and parcel of this so-called syndicate of defrauding the state?
But is it really acceptable if these are payments that go as far back as 2018, that in 2022 there's been no finalization, especially in terms of perhaps even pursuing criminal liability in some of these instances?
It is unacceptable, I agree, and I fully concur with you. Hence, we're saying SIU should move with speed. From our oversight, when we go back to Parliament, we'll table a report and recommend an agent intervention in terms of investigation. So I agree fully that it's unacceptable. We cannot continue as business as usual.
You've also been told by the department that at this point, these monies are monies that would have already been with the implementing agents, so it's not a direct financial loss to the department, but that too doesn't, I'd imagine, soothe your nerves.
Yeah, the comforting part is that the implementing agency are forced to pay back the money. But what we're saying is that that's not enough. There's more that needs to have been done already. And if it were to be according to our wishes and desire, they would have been stopped, terminated the contract, and wait until their case is concluded. Unfortunately, we are not always getting what we want, but it's unacceptable. We'll push to an extent that all those that are involved are brought to book.
Do you think people do this, be it for greed, corruption, poor record keeping, all of it? Do people do it because they know that if you're messing with the government's money, chances are it'll be a while before you're caught or not caught at all?
I think precisely because of what the AG has alluded to, the weak internal controls, which has led to people feeling comfortable to defraud the state, because you are correct, it has been ongoing since 2018. Fortunately for us, it has taken an unfortunate event where dead people were caught to have been beneficiaries. Had that not had happened, who knows for how long will this have been continuing. But what we're saying is that we have attended to this matter. We are calling for a speed resolution in terms of investigation and bringing those that are responsible to book.
Let's talk about the suggestion, what Minister Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma said. She said to officials that what now needs to happen is to link the system to the Home Affairs database so that before payment is made, it can be actually checked against the names of the people provided. Do you think that will go a long way in eliminating what's gone on?
Yeah, that's one of the progressive moves, one of the many recommendations and resolutions that will be tabling before Parliament. But we still insist that they need to strengthen their internal controls. They've got an accounting officer in the form of Director General that needs to ensure that they prevent and put measures in place to ensure that there are systems to detect, prevent fruitless and wasteful expenditure. So it's not only about relying on other state agencies in terms of Home Affairs. Those that are employed to do the work, the Director General and the entire staff complement must follow the prescript of the Public Finance Management Act in terms of what ought to be done. So it's not about relinquishing their job descriptions and relying on other agencies. They ought to be capable, competent enough to dictate.
Are they competent and capable enough?
Well, in a scale of 100 years, they pass the minimum requirement, but that's not enough. What we are saying is that more should be done, and we cannot accept the incompetency of having poor people defrauding the state while we have qualified, competent people at the helm of service delivery to the public.
Bheki Hadebe, you dodged that last question, but I'll let you get away with it for tonight. Thank you very much. That was the Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Parliamentary Portfolio Committee's Bheki Hadebe speaking to us about payments made to deceased people from the Community Works Programme.